I'm back with my February recap with all the books that I've read. Not as many as I did in January, but that's because, well, obviously it's a shorter month, and then I was reading books. I would say I had an average of about 400 pages or more, and I usually try to keep my books around 300, so it took me a little bit longer to finish some of the books I've read. So the first book, where am I at? So I do this thing with my family where each month is a different genre. And we choose a book within that genre, and it's just a way to get you out of your comfort zone and that you are able to read different types of books. So February it was romantasy. So my romantasy book was A Court of Thorns and Roses. And the fantasy part I really did enjoy. The romance, not so much. I'm just not a romance kind of guy. But I did like the world. I liked the setup of all the magic. I liked the mystery of, what's really going on. Not really sure if I want to continue the series, just because I don't want to read romance. If it was purely fantasy, I would read more of it. But we'll see. I have other books I'm interested in reading. So if I ever get to a point where I have like an open slot of just any book to read, I might read the next one. Atalanta. So this book took me the longest to read. I started reading this in like the middle of January, but I ran into a situation where a lot of books I had on hold at the library all came in at the same time. So this one kind of took the backseat to all those other books, but I was reading this book one chapter a day just to keep it going, just keep the progress growing, and I finally finished it in February. It's a classic retelling, which I don't think I really knew to begin with, and that might have made my perception of it a little different, but I just didn't like it. You could really tell it was a classical retelling because everything happened so fast. They travel thousands of miles in a ship within a page. It's very it's like this happened and this happened and this happened, and it has that very classical feel to it. But I also just didn't enjoy it. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. I really love the cover though. A+ for the cover. The Future. This is a book that I was pretty excited about. I didn't like the concept. I really don't like the trope of corporate greed and how technology is going to ruin the world and social media is the worst, even though it is, but I just don't want to read about it. And it was just too big brain for me. It was really a lot of this is what's wrong with the world in a fiction setting. I just don't want to be reminded about technological social issues while I'm reading a fiction book. And so that's what downgraded it for me. Next one, The Outsider. This is my first Stephen King book. This is probably the book that, well, it is the biggest. So this is the book that was the main reason why February I didn't read so much. It was probably about, and I think I hear this criticism of Stephen King, if there is criticism, is that the books are just unnecessarily long. Like this book would have been a great book if it was like 150 pages less than what it was. It just seemed at the end it kind of just dragged on. Kind of turned me off to Stephen King for a little bit. There's other books I do want to read by him, but it's not a priority anymore. I read this book because I guess technically it's a series, and the book that he just released is the second book of the series, so I went back and read the first one. Don't know if that was a great idea for my first book, my first Stephen King book, but it is what it is. I did like it. It was just a little too long. The Wager. So March for the genre is biography or historical. So I went with The Wager. Had it on hold at the library. It came in early, so I read it. It's a small book. It's only like 250 pages. So I actually read this before March. I don't know if I'll choose a different book for March as well. But I do. It's an interesting story. It's kind of hard to criticize in a historical book because you can't say the story was bad because the story is the story. It's real life events, and you can't really blame the author for not telling a great story when he's telling what happened. But that being said, I wish the author did more a storytelling fashion of the book, but instead of doing more academic kind of writing, like there's a lot of quotations that come straight from the like letters and notes and books. It's fine. It's just I wish it was more kind of like storytelling from like maybe a first person's perspective. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if it makes sense. But that is all the books that I read in February. So this next book, In the Lives of Puppets, it's a book that I started in February that I'll probably finish here within a day or two. In the Lives of Puppets, and I really enjoying this one. So I got a Barnes and Noble gift card for Christmas, and I used that to buy 4 hardback books. It was this one, The Future, the Atlanta. And then this one. First time I'm showing a book. The Fragile Threads of Power. And those are the 4 books I got. And The Lives of Puppets was probably the one I was more hesitant about reading, just because I read the synopsis and it was just didn't really feel it right away. But after reading it, I'm surprised. Not amazingly, but happily surprised. It's a fun book. It's got some real world issues in it, but it's just like, it's got unexpected humor in it. And I love it. The 2 like kind of secondary characters who are robots are just their banter and their ignorance of what's going on. It makes it funny. So those are the books in March. Here, maybe I'll show you some. Give me a second. I'll bring up my Goodreads and I'll show you what's on my TBR for March. Okay, so here's my TBR on Goodreads. And my goal is to finish the series that I'm currently reading. I want to get to the point where at one single point in time, I'll only be reading 2 or 3 series, and I won't start a new series until I finish one of those series. That being said, Wisdom and Crowns, I want to finish off that series. Malice of Crows, the Shadow series, I want to get it over with. I just want to read it because I really like that series. Red Rising, I need to do that one. I think those are the ones I'm in right now. This one I'm in right now as well. This is the second book, but I think I'll hold off on that one until I get at least these 2 done. The Will of the Many, that's one of my books that I really want to read. I'm waiting for the library to get it if they ever get it. Tempest of Tea, that just came out. I'm pretty curious on how that one is. This one I just showed you right here. This one I'm actually looking forward to as well, but this is a series it looks like as well, so I need to finish other things before that. And Goodreads, well, not a Goodreads, but Book of the Month book that I still need to read. So I guess for March, my priority is Wisdom Crowns, Malice of Crows. I keep forgetting the book because Fossil, the Fragile Threads of. Well, I can't read that one. Well, maybe I'll read that one after I get done with Wisdom of Crowns. I need to read The Fury because I have that book. I think those are the 4 that I can think of. Where the Crawdads Sing, we have that book. I have that book too. This is another book, The House. TJ Klune, that's the one that I'm reading, The Lives of Puppets. And I really enjoyed that, so this is another book by him I'm interested in. So yeah, Wisdom Crowns, Malice of Crows, The Fury, Fragile Threads of Power. So that's 4, right? And then 5 will be The Crawdads Sing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think those books will be readily available for me at the library. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I will see you guys all at the end of March. Okay, see you, bye.